Is the Quarry worth our time? We're about to find out. Welcome everyone to episode 170 of 1 Hour, 1 Decision, 1H1D. I am Chris.
And I am Tom.
And we take 60 minutes and play a semi-random game on Xbox Game Pass and decide, well, Tom, are scary movies good as video games? As video games?
Well, I could tell you that when you take a video game and try to turn it into a scary movie, it usually doesn't work.
Ooh.
But this is different.
This is different. And we will be talking about The Quarry, developed by Supermassive Games. This game came out simultaneously on the Xbox, the PC, the PS4, and the PS5 on June 2022.
I enjoy when it's a universal release.
Yeah, it's good. Good on them. I played this on the PC, Tom, but guess what? I had 0 install because it was xCloud only, unfortunately and unfortunately. Well, we'll get into that. Tom,
okay.
What about you?
Well, on the Series S, it does have a size, and you are able to install it. It was 44.20 gigabytes.
Okay. It's pretty hefty, but understandably so, because there are a lot of cutscenes and full motion video and all that good stuff there. So
yes.
Makes sense. It makes sense. But what about that game, though? What kind of game is it?
I have raised my eyebrows here because I put third person choose your own adventure. And what did you put, Chris?
I put third person choose your own adventure game.
Mm-hmm.
We did not share notes, I swear. we share our notes right before this recording, just so you know. But anyway, yeah, we know what kind of game this is very clearly. But wow, what is that game loop?
I have search for clues and navigate quick time events while making choices to advance the plot.
And see, this is where our paths differ. Because I put make choices to progress the story.
Okay. Now I'm starting to believe you didn't copy off my paper.
Fair enough. But unlike people maybe copying off of your paper, what did you like about this game?
That's an interesting thought there. But move actually about this game. All right. So I think maybe starting off the voice acting, right?
Yeah.
Is like really good. I guess it's because it has such a ridiculous cast.
It does. It's like they're pretty top-notch actors in this overall. I think it goes beyond voice acting, right? I think they're doing full motion video, or at least motion capture rather. So yeah, it was definitely a big list. You got Ted Raimi. You've got the kid Skylar, who's going to be Jimmy Olsen in the new Superman, and he was in the Righteous Gemstones. I don't know. There's a couple more.
No. There's a lot. It's all people kind of from the horror movie genre, like from a lot of these like kind of teen slasher movies, and it's like let's get them all together and make like a fun, movie game,
right?
Game movie together.
Yeah. Justice Smith from Detective Pikachu. He's in this too.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah. There's a lot. There's like a lot of people. Oh wow! Okay. And yeah, it's cool. It's very surprising how many people they got. But this is like their second game, I believe. I'm not sure, but we'll get into our other thoughts there. But yeah, that was kind of cool to see all types of actors doing their thing and potentially getting their bodies gored out in some way, shape, or form. So yeah.
Speaking of the plot, I think it got into the story really quickly, which is good for something like this. Could very dangerously just kind of drag you into cutscenes for 100 million years, and then and then the game never really starts.
Yeah.
But I thought it did a really good job of rolling out the tutorial parts.
Yeah.
And when they came, I was like, oh my God, they're animated shorts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like the first one was just to kind of teach you about QuickTime events.
Right.
And I just kind of thought, oh, like that's it. And then like you keep playing and it's like, no, there are more of these.
Yeah. It gave me, those, the vibes of like, almost like, Fallout, but like obviously Fallout is like those early like 50s or 60s cartoon vibes. And like, what else had it? Loki had it as well with a bunch of things like, so it was cool to kind of see that it's a nice little motif to use to kind of maybe throw a little misdirection, I guess, or it kind of like calm you down a little bit during maybe some tense scenes as you're going through a tutorial and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, I think they're fun. I mean, it's animated and it's not overly serious, but it's teaching about something that is kind of serious. Like in terms of how you're going to navigate the game. And it is, I mean, a horror game, right?
Yeah.
So
it's true. Choices matter. Choices matter in this game, and I'm just glad I finally got to play this game, because this has been something that I've been eyeing for quite some time, and for it to finally land on Game Pass was cool. I was like, awesome. Now I don't have to shell out $60 or whatever it is. I can just play it on Game Pass. So yeah, this game, I think Supermassive has done a great job just doing the setup, like you said, doing the setup and like just overall creepiness of this game. It was just like with the lighting and like the characters look so good, especially like when you like pause the game and the game just like hones in on that one person's face and they're just kind of looking around. It's a little unsettling how realistic it looks, So that was very cool, but also a little creepy, which is what they're trying to do. So what you got? What else you got there, Tom?
I enjoyed that, like their kind of commitment to style and like the themes and the tone. So like if you want to revisit a chapter that you've already played, it's these different like horror themed VHS tapes that you kind of look through. Okay. And so each chapter is like kind of a VHS tape and it's, named something kind of appropriate for the chapter and has the, the protagonist of that chapter on it. I think the characters themselves are a good mix of being kind of like likable, but also corny, like kind of what you want out of a cheesy, horror movie protagonist, right?
Right.
And there are enough of them that you can afford to lose some.
Exactly. And this game has quite a lot of options too. I think you and I actually kind of touched on this. You could play this solo. You can play it as a game, but you can also let it run like a movie or a TV show, which is really cool. I thought that option to be able to, like you can have it be like, oh, let everyone die, let everyone survive, or just like go into this, what they call director mode. And you kind of tweak some settings and then just see what happens after that. That's like, I thought that was really neat. And on top of that, there's co-op. Couch and online co-op. So it's like there's a lot of different varieties, and I feel like there's a lot of replayability because of that, because of how many different options and ways that you can play the game. It's just fun. It seems like it could be a good old time for someone to play with a bunch of friends over a weekend,
Yeah, I think it's very accessible, right? To a group. It's a game that should be a single player game, right? Yeah. But because of some cleverness on the part of the developers, they've turned it into a social game and kind of allow you to like, whether it's pass the controller around or have your friends kind of vote on what kind of decisions you're going to make, or like there are different, like you said, different ways to experience this. And because there's so many branching paths and things, this is one you could definitely play multiple times and see different ways. So
for sure. Yeah, those are some my thoughts, at least. Good things here. Anything else you wanted to bring up here?
Okay, so I agreed with you that I think the game looks, generally speaking, pretty good.
Yeah,
when it's not very dark, and that is the segue I have into my first dislike, which is, man, this game is dark, and like I don't have patience for like dark. It's dark just to be dark, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm too old and grumpy.
That's even when you cranked up the contrast and everything.
Well, you can, and then it just, obviously things don't look right because you've maxed out but it just feels to me like, I get it. It's a horror game. You're trying to hide things in the dark, but
yeah,
can't you just make a scary game that happens in the daytime? I don't know.
Maybe in the later chapters. Who knows?
Perhaps.
But 2K accounts. That's what pops up when you load this game up for the first time. It's like, hey, let's make sure you create an account. Thankfully, you can ignore that. But the fact that I have to use yet another account or potentially use another account to like get free stuff, like, no, I'm good. Just let me get to my game. I've already quote unquote paid for it with my Game Pass, so I don't need to do another account. Please, thank you. So it's not for me. But it is easily ignored. Which I appreciate that. But one thing that can't be ignored is how slow you move around in this game.
Yeah, totally.
It is a snail's pace, and it's not even like we're not talking. I mean, like, Resident Evil, like tank controls. You have modern controls. It's just there's no run button. You have like 8 million buttons on your controller, but none of them get you to run. You just are moving at whatever pace the game is telling you you're going to be moving at. Thankfully, there were a couple of scenes where like, oh my God, it took me all this time to get up the stairs and then come back down the stairs would be painful, where they were like, okay, let's make that into a cut scene and then transition you over. I was like, thank goodness that's there. But it's still like, come on, man, give me a run option. Let's get the pace moving a little bit here. So I don't know if you felt that, but
I wasn't happy with the controls.
Yeah.
Just kind of the exploration controls.
Yeah.
Like the quick time controls are easy. That's just, pressing a direction.
Sure.
But you move around, it switches camera angles, it did kind of feel sort of, without being tank controls, there was kind of that Resident Evil, like early Resident Evil, like tension created just by the controls not being great, and it just, why? It's like, that worked, 20 years ago. Like, I don't need to revisit that now.
Agree.
I feel like there's other ways to accomplish it.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I don't know. If you break this game down, it really is just cutscene, quick time event, walking, and then cutscene. Like that's pretty much all you do. I guess, can you make dialogue decisions? Yeah, but then that's kind of like would you consider that a quick time event?
I mean, it's different, right? Like the quick time events are more about like fast reacting to some, like an action sequence.
Sure.
And then, you have a little bit more time on the decision trees where it's like, okay, well, let me think about what I'm going to say before I say it, kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, it comes down to move around, make a decision, move around, dodge a tree branch, move around, make a decision. Like, it doesn't surprise me that there's an option where you just go, okay, just play the game. Let it play itself. I'm just going to sit here and.
Yeah. I was thrown off a little bit when the first QuickTime event showed up, because it showed what looked like just the circle button, like from the PlayStation controller.
Yes.
I was like, wait, there's no circle button on here. Right. And then it went down. I was like, oh no. And then like I hit it too late. And then the girl tripped. I was like, oh dick. That was a little embarrassing, I gotta say. But
yeah, no,
I figured it out.
I'm with you that the UI does not make that obvious that's the analog sticks,
Right.
I likewise thought it was a button, and I was like, I had that same moment you did.
Just point down. Just do that.
Why aren't they arrows?
Yeah.
It's weird to do. If all you're going to do is move the analog sticks in a direction, just show the direction.
Right. So, unfortunate. And what else is also unfortunate is, I kind of talked about this, only xCloud option on the PC, which, while it is nice to be able to not install this, maybe take up some space on my hard drive, it just wasn't great. It wasn't that great of an experience because it was a little bit more pixelated. And I don't have I don't want to say I have a really like super fast connection, but like I'd say it's a decent connection. So, and I'm hardwired. So it was just kind of like surprising how poor it looked at times. Like, and you know, of course I could always just install it on my Xbox, but still, like, you know, having the option to play it on my PC would be nice too. Like fully with high fidelity on the PC, it probably look great. But you know, I guess they don't have the licensing for it, whatever it is too. So that was unfortunate. So I don't know about you. Also, I was a little confused about what the time period was. Was it like supposed to be like in the 90s or early 2000s or?
Well, they have cell phones.
You're right. They do. Okay. So
it can't be the 90s.
You're right. Okay. Well, they didn't have flip phones. You're right. So they actually had like ones with apps and all that junk. So yeah. Okay. All right. Good to know. Well, now I know. Thanks, Tom. What else did you?
Okay. Well, I thought it was, you know, the settings, at least the default ones, to me felt very easy.
Yeah.
And when I went into the options to kind of look at making the game harder, it looked like I could make the game easier, but not much harder.
Okay.
Like the accessibility options were like, oh yeah, you don't even need to pass the quick time events. They'll just automatically succeed.
Right.
And I'm like, no, but like maybe I need more buttons in the quick time events. It's just not just directional, you know? Nope, that wasn't an option.
Oh.
So things like that. I found it kind of surprising that it kind of didn't work in both directions. There were ways to like reduce the amount of time you had to react, which I guess is how you make it harder, but it's not quite the same thing. But I guess because, like you said, the game just kind of boils down to making dialogue choices and doing quick time events.
Yeah.
There's not really a way to make it harder. You can't make the enemies hit harder because the enemies don't hit you. You can't, you know.
Yeah, fair enough.
Can't reduce the amount of life you have because you don't have any life, you know.
No. And though I will say a lot of there were a couple of times where I felt like I was forced into a choice.
Yes.
And in one particular scene, I will say, where you get to a car and you have to apparently sabotage the car. And I was like, but I don't want to.
Right.
And you have two choices. I'm like, I don't want any of those choices. I was like, can I just not touch anything and see what happens? And like, no, it's like you have to make one of those choices. And I thought that was kind of crappy that you had to do that. And it also made you think different of the character too, I guess. Like, maybe I want him to die.
Yeah, I think, and I put it here kind of in a little bit of a different way, but I put trapped in horror movie tropes. Characters split up.
Yeah.
They wander off. Ugh. Like it's like, you know that these are bad choices. And normally you're watching a horror movie and you're like, okay, well, I'm not in control of this idiot character. Right. So if they go and do something stupid, it's on them. But here you are in control of them and you kind of have no choice. Like there's a point where you're playing as a girl.
Yeah.
And the boyfriend's working on the car and he's like, don't wander off. Don't go too far. And your only option is to go too far.
Yeah. It's like, come on. Why? Why would you do that? Do the exact opposite. I would have gone right back into the car and waited in the car.
Right? Like
make it make sense.
You shine your flashlight around for like 5 minutes and that's it. And then you would turn around and you walk right back to the car. You don't just keep wandering further and further into the middle of the dark woods.
Exactly. If you see a creepy lady out there, you don't go towards her. You go away from her.
But these are horror movies, Chris. This is what must happen.
I guess.
Or else no plot, right?
I guess so.
Or else the credits just roll.
That would have been great, though, right? If it was just like you just stay in the car, roll credits. I thought that's what happened after the end of that first sequence. Like the game was over. I was like, oh, I made a big mistake, and the game was over. And but it wasn't. So you can't win them all. You can't win them all under an hour. But cool. Anything else you want to bring up here, or shall we get to our other thoughts?
Just that. I mean, it goes without saying. I think at this point we've played enough horror games. This is not really my genre. There are jump scares. There's a lot of high tension.
Yeah.
If you're the kind of person who might be on edge already, this game is only going to put you more on edge. This isn't a fun time down at the beach,
Right. Right. Well, you could get Murder at the Beach too. Jaws,
Sure.
Jason, etc. So
okay, you got me.
I was just saying. But anyway, let's get to our other thoughts here. How long Debate says this game takes about 9 hours to complete. So it's a fairly decent amount of time in a horror movie.
Yeah. It's a whole horror trilogy.
Yeah, for sure. And like I mentioned, this is xCloud, so there's obviously xCloud saves, but not to PC. No, only to Xbox. So, and this game does have online co-op, as mentioned earlier, and couch co-op as well. So that's all good times. At least you can share in the misery with someone locally or remotely. So there's that, Tom.
It is. There are many options.
Yeah.
My notes here, obviously we talked about movie mode already, which I think is pretty neat. There are 9 playable characters. So the game kind of plays like a little bit of an anthology, like you're constantly kind of jumping characters.
Okay.
Which we kind of got from the prologue and the first chapter or whatever, but that keeps going.
Okay.
The game is a spiritual successor to a game called Until Dawn.
Yes.
Now, that was a PSVR title.
Really?
Oh. Yes. Huh. And I remember when it came out on PSVR, and it's a survival horror, VR title.
Yeah.
But I don't know what made them go in this direction instead, but here they are.
Yeah, they are.
The game reportedly has 186 possible endings, which makes some sense because you have 9 characters and some of them will live and some of them will die. But there's also a bunch of clues and things that you're looking for as you play. And I guess depending on how much of the mystery you solve, that also impacts the, final outcome. So
wow.
You mix those all together and you end up with 186 possibilities.
Very cool. Well, that's good to know. Did this give you any sort of Detroit Become Human vibes?
A little bit, but I don't know. Something about Detroit was just, more fun to play.
Okay. Fair enough. But now we do need to talk about our final thoughts here. Is this a game that we're going to be, at least one person keeping it on their respective hard drive or throwing it into the lake that is near this quarry? I don't know.
Yeah. Lake Placid?
Lake Placid, maybe.
Well, I've already shown my hand, so I'll go first. I do enjoy the anthology aspect of it. Like, I like the idea that there are 9 different characters. I like that I'll probably like some of them and probably hate others. But at the same point, like, that creates kind of a disjointed experience where it's like, I'm not really attached to any of these people, or I get attached to a character and they get murdered almost immediately. So that said, I think I'm going to give it an hour more just because I am curious to see if, I get attached to anybody.
Sure.
But I did get attached to people playing Detroit Become Human, and that happened pretty quickly. Okay. Whereas here, that hasn't happened yet. So
yeah. I feel like this might have the same problem that we had with that RPG, that JRPG that we were playing.
Yes.
Where it was like they jumped too quickly to other characters that you didn't get an opportunity to connect with them. Oh man, I forgot the game. But yeah.
Octopath?
No. Oh, well, that too, but there was another one that came out that we played some time ago. I forget now. But it was good, but it was like, too much. But anyway, what I thought, though, that this game was a fun time. It seems like it could be a fun social time, too. Like, get some friends together and just, see what nonsense you like when we watch Jason X together, kind of like kind of ridiculous deaths that happen. Like, I feel like this could happen in this game, too. And it'd be a hilarious time for everyone just to kind of gather around and watch this all unfold. So yeah, in that way, I might keep it just to keep seeing if anyone's interested in doing that social experiment or whatnot. So that's that. And those are our thoughts. So let us know what you guys think of this game. Follow us and say hello on Twitter at TC1H1D or shoot us an email at TC1H1D@outlook.com. We play these games on Twitch, twitch.tv/1h1d. So check out our streams there. And, this is on YouTube too. So if you guys think we should put more than an hour into this game, let us know. Put it down in the comments down below, or check out our other reviews, because we've done quite a few of those on YouTube as well. We'd love to hear your thoughts on those other games that we've talked about. 1H1D is part of the Q2B network, and if you like gaming content, any kind of cool gaming content, check it all out at quitthebuild.com/network. Well, Tom?
Yes.
It is time for us to figure out what we are playing next.
Mwahaha.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Well, we'll hit that surprise button and see where it goes. Here we go.
I don't know. I was doing horror.
Oh, that was, well,
horrible, right?
Horrible. I mean, you said it, not me. But we are changing to something that looks a little cutesy. Little Gator Game.
I love little gators.
Yeah, you're a big reptilian fan, so
it's true. If it's a lizard or a frog, well, I guess that's an amphibian, but you know what I mean.
We got it.
If it's green and scaly, they're my friends.
But frogs are not scaly.
Slimy?
Sure. Scaly and slimy. They're Tom's friends. But that's what we're going to be talking about on our next episode. But thank you so much for tuning into this one, and we'll see you in the other one.
Thanks, everybody.